Hello, so today I'm going to look at Microsoft and Microsoft PowerPoint and Word, but in particular how you can write math notation and turn it into text within PowerPoint and Word. It's a new feature I noticed, but I think it's been around for a couple of years. But first, let's have a look at this. So this is a nice feature as well. And we'll go through this. So we're going to look at math notation using ink to pen, the ink to pen feature in PowerPoint and Word. And a couple of other little features. Right, so this feature that that was just illustrated here is called Ink Replay. So let's have a look at that one to start. So I have a blank slide here and I'm in the drawing. If we go to the menu, I'm in the draw tab. So we have file, of course, as we know, home, insert, draw. So that's a tab you want to be in within Microsoft PowerPoint. So I'm just going to draw, I'm going to draw something. Let's say a little house, a window. Oh, that's a bad house. That's all right. And we'll put some, let's change the color, put some grass on the ground. Good. Let's put some clouds in the sky. And let's see, let's put a sun here, a sunny day. Let's see what else we have. But it's rainy on this side. Okay, and then there's a storm happening on this side of the house. Don't know what's happening in this neighborhood. All right, so this is our picture that we drew with all the pens. Now we're going to click this button, Ink Replay. And look at that. It's a nice feature. It redraws everything like a little animation. That's great. But that's a useful feature. It could be used for all kinds of things. Now, if you notice on that first slide, I also wrote on the first slide and I was able to press Ink Replay and it would write everything out. However, it just does that feature for that particular slide. So you only can use Ink Replay for that particular slide from what I've seen so far. It's not possible to go through all the slides with one tap of Ink Replay, just per slide. But it is a nice feature and it allows for some interesting possibilities. All right, so we'll let that finish playing. Great, excellent. All right, so now let's go to another blank slide and look at some of the other buttons that we have here under the draw menu tab. So we have the usual pointer. So let's put some information on here. Let's go dogs and cats. Okay. All right, so I use the pen, and when you click on a pen, it's actually quite nice. They give you 4 possible pens to choose from, and you can check the thickness of the pen, and then you can choose the color. And then we have this pen here. This is a slightly different one, which is interesting. It sort of gives you this sort of sparkly feature. And then, of course, we have a highlighter and an eraser. An eraser is very important, so we have that. We also have this option to draw with touch if you don't have a stylus. So if you click on that, you can just touch on the screen and use your finger and draw. Okay. And you can erase depending on whatever tool you tap on. So let's remove. And then if you, it's a toggle, that button, so you can tap it to use your finger to draw and tap it a second time to remove that feature. We also have this ruler feature. So if you click on it, then you get a ruler and you can angle it however you like. Take the pen and then it allows you to draw a straight line. So that's great. Okay, so let's get that straight line out of the way. So now we're into these buttons, ink to text, ink to shape, and ink to math. So let's have a look at ink to text. So if you click on it, it tells you how it works. So ink to text, circle some handwriting with lasso select, then use this button to convert the ink to text. All right, so let's do that. So we have some text. This second button from the left is the lasso. So now we just circle all of that. So we circled dogs and cats that I wrote with the stylus. Let's click ink to text and see what happens. There you go. It turned it to text. Now in the top right hand corner, we see these three buttons, these three dots. It gives us alternatives. So right now there's just a handwritten version, or let's see, or the text version. Good, so that's a very nice feature. So if you're taking notes in a meeting with your stylus, or with your finger, home, house, you can just write it very quickly, use the lasso effect, and then click ink to text, and it turns into text, which is great. All right, so now let's have a look at ink to shape. So again, let's draw some shapes. So I've drawn some shapes. So we know what they are: a square, triangle, and a circle. Now let's use our lasso again. Circle the square, click ink to shape, and it turns into a really nice square with nice straight sides. Again, we can click the ellipses in the top right hand corner. It gives us a whole bunch of alternatives. So we have this fun shape. Okay. All right. So one thing I've noticed is we've got our shape. Now, if we want to get those ellipses back, you can use your mouse and right click, and then the ellipses in the top right hand corner come back, and we can choose now whatever alternative shape we want. So how about that one? Great. All right, so we're going to do the same for the other two shapes. So I used the lasso. I circled our triangle. I'm going to click ink to shape. There you go. We have a triangle. Let's do it one last time with our circle. Click ink to shape, and we have a nice circle. So you can play around with the different types of shapes. I don't know if we're going to get a nice star, but let's see what we get. There you go. Well, that's impressive. Okay, so that's how ink to shape works. So that's nice. Let's go to our next slide and let's have a look at ink to math and see what's going on there. So again, let's use our pen and write some math notation. Let's do 2x squared plus 4x minus 1. All right, so we've written up a hand, and now we want to turn into text. Yes, let's use this lasso, and we're going to circle our 2x squared plus 4x minus 1. Click ink to math and see what we get. So we get two options. We have ink to math, and then we have open equation editor. Well, let's start with ink to math. And there you go. It's turned it into text, and quite nice too. All right, so let's try that again. Let's see if we can do something a bit more complicated. Say the integral from, I'm not sure if this will work, a to b of 3x cubed dx. So let's give that a try. Use our lasso, circle it, click ink to math. Let's see what we get. Not bad. Not bad at all. That's pretty good. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. So let's have a look at the ink to math button again. So notice in this case, the ink to math button is shaded out. That's because we have not written anything on the board that we circled with our lasso, but this open ink equation editor is active. So let's click on that and see what we get. So we get this interesting little box. It's called Math Input Control. So let's make it a bit bigger. Let's see what we can do with this. So this is quite interesting because in this yellow box in the middle, we can write math. Say some equations. What's that? 4x minus 1. And as we're writing it, it in this top rectangular box right above the yellow box, it shows up as text. So when we're happy with whatever we've written in the yellow box with our pen or a finger, we can click insert. And there you go, we have a little equation. And then if you notice, the menu bar at the top changes to equation. So now we have the option to do more within the equation editor. So that's actually a very nice feature. So again, let's go back to draw. All right, so let's go to Ink to Math and let's open equation editor. Let's make the box a little bigger. Have some room to write. Let's try something else. I don't know. Let's see what that, not bad. We'll put a, oh, okay, that's not so nice. So then we can use the erasers. At the bottom of the yellow box, we have a couple of options or buttons. We have write, erase, select and correct, and clear. Oh, cleared it all. Okay, so let's start again. All right, so, so let's make the box a little bigger so we have room to write. Again, we need to select the write or the pen. How about there? That looks good. I'm happy with that. Click insert. Oh, interesting. It puts it back in the same equation editor box. Very interesting. Let's see if it allows us to create a separate equation editor box. Okay, open equation editor. Let's make the box a little bigger. We have room. Let's do 4x cubed over 5 equals, click insert. Good. So it looks like it keeps adding to the one equation box that we have. So that's interesting as well. Although let's unhighlight it and let's try again, see if it opens up a separate box. Again, we go to the Draw tab in the menu, click Ink to Math. Then we're going to click Open Ink Equation Editor. Click on that. Let's make the box window a little bigger, and let's write something else. All right, insert, and okay, so now we have a separate box that we can move around. Good. All right, and if we unhighlight that box, it will create another equation box. Good. So that takes care of a few of the interesting little buttons on the draw tab in the menu for PowerPoint. So ink to text, ink to shape, ink to math, and the one we started with, ink replay. So that's exciting. So now we're going to go back to Word. We're going to go to Word rather. I have an open document here, and again, let's see what we have under the Draw tab. So again, we're going to go to Draw. Again, it looks very similar, but if you notice, the one we don't have is a one to text. If we go back to PowerPoint, it's the ink to text. But for some reason, we don't have ink to text within Word under the Draw tab in Word. But we do have ink to math, and we have ink to shape. Okay, so if we, let's close that. So we do have ink to shape. So again, let's do a triangle. We have our lasso, circular triangle that we drew. Click ink to shape. And it doesn't seem to want to do anything. Interesting. All right, let's leave that. Let's click ink to math and see what's going on there. So again, that same window opens up. Let's write some math and see if it works. Let's do 2x to the power 4 minus 1 equals 0. Click insert, and sure enough, it inserts it. So now when it inserts it, this new menu tab for equation opens up. And we have all these options for writing equations. The one that's particularly interesting is this LaTeX one that immediately is highlighted. So if you know LaTeX, you can actually start writing in LaTeX. Now, where do we find that if you don't go to the Draw tab within the menu? You can go to Insert, Equation, and then it opens up this entire equation tab with various options. So again, if you're in LaTeX is highlighted and you know LaTeX, you can actually start writing in LaTeX, and you can write whatever you like, or type whatever you like in LaTeX. And once you're done, click enter, and now you have your equation or your mathematical notation. Good, so let's just check one more time for this triangle and this ink to shape, whether it works or not. For some reason, it's not functioning. Okay, well, that's a shame. That's okay, but let's just review. So in PowerPoint, we have our file. We're at the home tab, we have insert, and then the fourth from the left, the draw tab. We click on that, we have all these drawing options. So if we go to the right hand side, and fourth from the right, we have ink to text. So if we write some text, use the lasso, circle it, click the ink to text button, and it will turn what we wrote by hand into text. Now, if we draw a shape and we use a lasso and circle it, we click the ink to shape button, it will turn that shape into a nice shape with, in this case, a square with nice straight sides. And finally, say we write some little equation or some mathematical notation, use a lasso, circle it, and then click ink to math. We have two options. Let's click ink to math, first one, and it will turn what we wrote, what mathematical notation we wrote, into text. The other option is to click on ink to math, click on open equation editor. It gives us a new window. Make it a little larger so we have some room to write in. And now we can write any math notation that we want. Click insert, and there you go. We have that notation that we wrote in the equation editor is now in text on our slide in this case. So that's those are some interesting features for PowerPoint, Microsoft PowerPoint, and Microsoft Word. Will help you write out your mathematical notation. All right, thank you.